Good morning, fans of the new network. It is James Ernest of Sarah's Playlist. We are excited today. Glenda Benevides, singer, songwriter, actress, author, and activist. She does a little bit of everything, it sounds like. So we're excited to have her on to talk about a wide variety of topics. Glenda, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
It's our pleasure. When did you first fall in love with music?
Mm. Well, I think I was probably about 4 and I was going down the road with my dad and the song came on the radio and we just started singing it together. So that was probably the first time I really it kind of hit me, I think. Yeah. And then I just continued on from there singing.
Awesome. So your family listened to music, but was anybody in the family in the music business?
No. I came from humble beginnings, blue class blue class workers, blue collar is what I meant to say. Sorry, I have to forgive my brain.
No
Um,
worries. I know what you meant.
blue collar worker family, and my mom and dad were both. My dad worked for Oregon turkey growers, and my mom was a waitress, and so they enjoyed music. It wasn't the focal point for them, and
Mhm.
they no one really sang in the house or anything, so it wasn't like that was the thing.
How were you able to make your music so empowering spiritually and that it of out of elevates the soul?
I always knew that once I was fairly conscious, I think my first memory was when I first got into junior high, and I remember I was selected to be in a a choir that um I don't know if you know what this is, but like it's a swing choir. So there
Hmm.
was only one person of each section.
Hmm.
So alto, soprano, that type of thing. And I got that position for alto coming in from grade school.
Oh, cool.
That was a big deal. I was
Nice.
like, ooh, I'm famous. And then and I knew, and I was walking through the halls, and you know, it's when you're new into that grade, you feeling like weird and insecure and stuff like
Hmm.
that, as we all have. And I remember walking down the hall thinking, why do I want to do music? Like, why me? Why do I want to be famous? Right? Why do I want that? And I just really, the voice in my head said, well, I just really want to make a difference. I just want to serve people. I want to serve humanity. And I knew that. I was like, wow, okay. So
So even at
that's
a young age, you kind
yeah.
of foresaw your path. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest songs, I'm not a Beatle fan, but and I don't have any albums, but my girlfriend at the time in junior high, she had a song, and I think this really speaks to my spirit, my heart, and it was Revolution. That was when it played, I was like, yeah, I love that song. Actually, I want to remake it, so that'd be good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So this one is kind of an odd one, but I'm jealous about how you're a voting member of the Academy. I want to know how I can become a voting member of the Academy, or do I actually have to have talent like you?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, are you a musician?
No.
Okay, you won't be able to be one.
Darn.
It's a club. Basically, we are the voting members are the ones that supposedly vote on who gets the Grammy every year. So you get to see the end result,
Hmm.
and the nominees are,
Hmm.
and the Grammy goes to, right. That's us voting. We voted all those people in.
That is awesome.
There's about 20,000 of us.
I mean, shoot, I hear with the Oscars and the other different awards, there's a lot of bribes and kickbacks. Is that the case with the
I'm
Grammys?
I'm sure of it. There,
Cool.
there's there's top levels of stuff that, I mean, I shouldn't trash it, but they always say, please vote on merit. And let me tell you, I when I listen to all the artists in the categories that I vote in, I hear phenomenal. artists, like, and you'll never hear them. So, the top tiers, like the Beyoncés and stuff like that, they're always going to get it because they have a record label, and
Hmm.
that's an industry, right? So it's a music industry, which means if they're making us money, if we've backed them and they're making us money, then we want to keep their face. We want to keep them winning. Keep it's just big promotion, you know what I'm saying? And those of us that are in different categories that you probably won't see, that I don't think they're televised.
Yeah.
They come through in the early afternoons or whatever. But those are some real. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's tons of talent that get there, and I'm not taking anything away from Beyonce, but there is a definitely a business component that goes with it, and a kind of an inside club thing, and it is about money and who you know and stuff,
Oh,
and people
definitely. I was going to
pressure.
say it seems that way with all awards. Like,
Yeah.
for example, I come from a sports background, and
Okay.
the Heisman Trophy and different ones like that seem to go to, like the schools that tend to promote their guy the
Mm,
best. So,
right.
yeah, I was going to say it's kind of an award that the company wins more so than the artist wins sometimes. But I know what you mean,
Yeah.
that all the artists have immense talent. It's just how much support do they have backing them?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then there's some artists in there that are, their stuff is not that great, but
Yeah.
but they, how if you really want to know how it works,
Hmm.
so how it starts is, if you're interested in, anybody out there that's interested in being a Recording Academy member, you have to be a working artist.
Hmm.
You have to be working. You have to have all your stuff up and out in the world,
Hmm.
meaning, all the platforms, you name it. And then you have to have two recommendations. And the recommendations have to come from other artists. So it can't be your best friend or your
Hmm.
mom or whatever. And they have to be working artists, like really working, because they will check them out. And then once that has happened, once they said, oh, okay, they'll send you an email and say, hey, you just got recommended to the Recording Academy. And you go, oh my God, this is amazing. And then you fill out the form, and it's pretty extensive, and you have to represent yourself properly. And then they will decide who they will let into the group. And then I did it the first time I did it, I did not get accepted. And the second year, I got another two recommendations. I got back in there again. And my music partner that actually um got in the Recording Academy, he goes, let me see what you wrote. And so he took a look at what I was writing. He's like, no, they want to know about you, like, deeply. They want to know, you're a woman, you're a philanthropist, what about all these things that you do in real life? They want to know about that. Why didn't you put that
Oh.
in there? And I was like, oh God, you know, okay. And then silly me. So I put all those things in there, and then they were said, come on in, your contribution, and I get it. They want to have people that are forward thinking, that are innovative, that are going to show up, they're going to participate, they're going to play with the group,
Hmm.
and play on their level, you know what I'm saying? And there's always room to grow. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, and so that second time I got in. So
That's
that's kind of
cool.
how that works.
Awesome. So obviously you're known for writing songs, but you're also
Hmm.
known for writing books.
Yes.
And I'm gonna probably mispronounce this, but I'm confident I won't. Gamore?
Oh, the grimoire, look at me. The Grimoire of Lost Lore
Yes.
is my latest. Yeah. Is my latest. I'll show you. So it looks like this. I don't know if your audience has seen this or not,
Hmm.
but it's
They
the
are.
Grimoire of Lost Lore. And I wrote it. It was actually I'll just show you a little bit. So here's the story, and then here's the picture. So what it was is, it started out with a really good friend of mine that's a fabulous artist, D.S. Thornburg. He's a charcoal artist and a visual artist for all of you out there. Um, and he would draw these beautiful, interesting pictures. And I was like, all of a sudden I'd look at them and I'd have the story
Oh,
that
cool.
that came out. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh my God. So I started writing these stories with his, in complement to his pictures, and then his drawings, I should say. And he and I sat down together and we said, oh, we should do a book.
Mhm.
So we did a book. We put it all together. It took us about a year in total, but to figure out how we want to do it and sell it. We'll probably sell it on the website, but mainly it's merch for touring and stuff. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's Grimoire, and then my first book was Courage: Find Your Fire and Ignite Action in Your Life. That's my main book.
Exactly. So, what inspired you to write Courage, Find Your Fire, and Ignite Your Action in
Oh,
your life?
in my life. Okay. Well, it all began in my kitchen when I was in Santa Cruz. I was living in Santa Cruz and California. And a girlfriend of mine actually turned to me and said, "You're a badass goddess." And I was like, "Whoa." I was like,
Oh,
"What do you
that was
mean by
sweet of
that?"
her.
Well, it was totally sweet, right?
Yeah.
And but at first, and I think maybe a lot of women can relate to this, where you go, "Oh, no, 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 I don't take those compliments." You know what I mean? So I
Mhm.
have somebody you just like, "Oh." Um, and I stopped myself and I noticed, I said, "Why are you not taking that compliment?" She wanted to tell you that inspired her. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to do that. And then I decided that I was going to redo the acronym on it, create a new one, just so, because people have an idea of what a badass means, like you're, kicking down doors
Mhm.
and beating people up. Well, I didn't see it that way. So I saw it as beautiful, abundant, daring, accessible,
Mhm.
sassy, savvy, right? So
Mhm.
badass, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I decided to live into. And inside of that, then probably about a year later, I was in Boston with my music partner and we were doing stuff. And I thought, you know what? How hard can it be to write a book? And so I gave myself, I said, do you have to myself, I said, do you have any value? Like, is there anything of value that you could share with somebody or impart with them in your life? Like, what would that be? And I said, courage. A lot of people keep
Mhm.
telling me, you have so much courage. You're so brave. You can, all these things. And I thought, okay, well, what does that mean? Like, how do I have courage? And then I just started breaking it down. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to write a book. And then I did an outline, and the outline flows into what's the foundation of creating courage. Well, you got to have clarity, then you have courage, then you go into confidence, then you can have commitment, and then community. And that's kind of how I
Mhm.
saw my life, how it worked. How did I get to courage? Well, you got to be clear first, right?
Yeah.
If you're not clear, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about communication. Exactly.
Yeah. And just really understanding your purpose and what do you want at the time, you know? Where are you? Hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that is very important stuff. And it is great that you were able to write that and inspire so many people.
Well, I'm hoping that that's how I wrote it. It's pretty much the Courage is the book to it's an easy read. It's 144 pages. And it really tells it I have stories in there that talk about my life and how I got there. Like how did I get to that courage? And then I give people um an opportunity to take on um like I ask questions so they can actually fill them out for themselves, you
Oh,
know?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
So
more
they
of a
can
workbook.
participate. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, excuse
Oh,
me.
no worries.
Yeah.
Your live performances, they're so emotional. Um, what's your process to get ready to do a live performance?
That's a really great question. And I think that everybody has their own thing, you know. But for me, I have to be quiet. I have to be alone. I have to warm up, of course, vocally, I have to warm up. And then I just set my intentions. Like what am I when I walk out there, where do I want people to go? Like, what do I want them to feel? What do they want them to experience? And they're just like keywords for me that I kind of set in motion. Then I get quiet and I warm up and then I go out there and I just open my heart and let my spirit come through and then just really share the song, share the stories, and then, people get what they get, and that's how I do it.
Nice. Earlier on, you mentioned about when you were in school and being the superstar in school, because your voice, you were able to do a certain category. But the neat thing, I'm impressed by your voice, and not just how powerful it is, but you have that range with the four octaves.
Mhm.
How were you able to build up to having the four octaves?
I just gotta thank my vocal coach. Yeah, I picked up. I've had, you have the natural talent.
Hmm.
Sometimes people have, um the nice thing about performing a lot, your voice stays warm, it stays strong. The vocal cords are a muscle too. So you've got to exercise them. And if you don't do that, then they they have a
They can
short
atrophy. Yeah.
range. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so I picked back up with my vocal coach about 2013. Yeah, 2013. And we just kicked it. Like every day I was on vocal range runs, and I was all doing all kinds of stuff every day, every day, every day. And I think it's been harder for me, not being on the road and not working a lot, because it's easier to rest too much. And so, and then as of I have a show coming up in March, so
Oh, cool.
I've got to get back on the vocal warm up train.
Hmm.
But that's how you do it. And then you just strengthen your range. And my vocal coach kept saying, "Oh no, we can do this. We can get that. You can get that high range, no problem." And we just kept
Nice.
working, 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 working. And then one day you're gonna go, "That's good. That's freed up."
Now, I know that you said your parents are two hardworking blue collar people, but I've also heard that your parents, because I heard you're the love child of Hart, Janis Joplin,
Oh,
Bessie Smith, and wanted to know if you feel that is a fair comparison or is that too much pressure?
oh no. I love that. That's hilarious. Well, that is what uh my music partner said. I said, "Well, how do if I was compare myself?" And he's the one that wrote that, and I was like, "Okay, I'll take it." Beautiful vocalists, all three of them, different styles, different ranges, amazing, and I really appreciate that. And I definitely try to live up to that. And another inspirational vocal artist and musician and songwriter. Oh, she's amazing. Her name is Rochelle Farrell.
Mhm.
Listen to her music, it's transcendent. She's a R&B jazz singer, and she's blues jazz, whatever you want to call it, mostly R&B, but she's phenomenal too. So those are my, if you're gonna go somewhere, where do you want to go? That's my inspiration,
Exactly.
Rochelle has like a 5 octave range.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
yeah, she's ridiculous, and I've seen
Yeah,
her live. Hmm.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, like we were saying, your performances live are extremely intense, but I think part of that intensity, of course, is the emotion you're having during that, but also your thought-provoking lyrics. How
Mm.
do you craft those lyrics?
These are great questions. Different every time. Like for example, I've got a song that's on deck right now, and it's called Pride. And it came, a good friend of mine had a horrible experience one morning going to work, and he pulled into a gas station, and he saw this homeless guy dragging himself across like the tarmac there, and he
Mhm.
was like, "Oh my god." And he looked around, and everybody was like, "La la 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 la, I don't
And
see
just
that,"
ignoring him, yeah,
just ignoring him.
yeah,
And my friend went, "Oh my God." And he just like got out of his car and shut the door, ran over
yeah,
and like picked the guy up, got him some water, got him some help. And he was so effed off about that he had to write about it. So he wrote this
yeah.
story, and I was so moved by all the story that he told, that I just told. Um, that I wanted to write a song about that. I just thought, like, shame on us. Like, shame on us for being that way. Where is our humanity? Where's our heart? And so I wrote the song Pride to just like really spotlight that song for us to kind of take a look at. So those are my in-depth, introspective, but yet connecting to society lyrical thing. I'm hoping. people will like that. I'm an artist. I don't know.
Nice. Well, I was going to say the great thing is you already answered my next question if
Oh,
about how are they based on real life experiences. So some are based on your firsthand experiences, some are based on other folks and that have inspired you, it sounds like.
yeah. And some are, yeah, based on world experience, just looking at the world and just really taking a look at that and going, how do I make a difference?
Well, it sounds like you make a difference in a lot of ways with the different charities you do. Uh, what is your mission? What is your purpose in life?
That's such a great question, and I think I always ask that question for myself, and I think it's an ever evolving thing. But I think really the bottom line is for me to activate and share love in my way, through the music, through the art, through how I be with people, and my performances, and just that, again, is it really, you get to the place where you kind of go, why? Why are you doing what you're doing? And I think that helps lead to purpose, you know?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had a mentor when I was in college. She was a women's studies slash English professor. She was a poet. Her name was Mary
Mm,
York, and she would have loved you. She would have been a huge fan.
mm.
She probably would have made a class based on you, actually, because she would always take interesting and exciting topics, and just her big thing was educate, enlighten, and empower. And though, there's not enough people in the world that are beacons of light, how do you spread your message? It seems like you spread yours through your art.
I try to. Yeah, I just, it's like, who am I being with my neighbor next door? That's one, am I saying hi to somebody? Am I opening the door for somebody? Am I listening to a friend? Like listening, not waiting to talk. you know, am I there for people? And then when it comes to the art, I bring that same thing, right? When I'm on stage. Am I there for you? Am I listening to you? Am I giving you my gift? Um, and and it just kind of permeates that whole beingness, that whole attitude just permeates through the writing, through the singing, through my activism, that whole 9 yards. Excuse me.
I
Hopefully that
noticed it,
answered.
I noticed in your book you emphasize the importance of self-expression and how powerful and how important it is. Um, why not just for artists, but why in general for everyone? Is that such an important thing?
Great question. It is an important thing because if I believe that's part of a smidgen of why we're have so much unrest is because people aren't really expressing themselves. They're maybe lashing out
Mhm.
or they're maybe reacting to something, but they're not taking the time to like really dive deep into why am I here? What am I doing? How do I affect people? Like, you know, if you start looking at those questions first, then you can start looking outward, and um I just really feel like that's so key. It's the key to everything, I think, is just really understanding and loving yourself.
So is it fair to say that those type of questions help people to understand some of the universal truths? And if so, what are some of those universal truths?
Yeah, the universe for me, a universal truth would be not your typical ones that we can look up. No, just like loving yourself. Like, what
Mhm,
does that mean to love yourself? And it's okay. We all have trauma. We all have damage. There's
mhm.
something always in the background. And it's up to us to take the time to go, I'm going to be brave enough. I'm going to have the courage and be brave enough to sit back and go, why does that hurt? Why do I feel unhappy? Why is there unrest? Why do I feel angry? And then once you can get to that, then you can get some help And it could be anything from like reading a book to getting coaching to get some counseling, whatever you feel you're moved to do some shadow work, Carl Jung, do some Carl Jung, dig deep. And then once you can do that, right, then you can start to really be self-expressed, really be the contribution that you are. There's something that you bring to the table, James, that
Mhm.
no one else brings. Okay, there might be another guy that's doing a podcast, but what you bring is completely you, you
Oh.
know? Yeah. And you're freed up enough, and this is a part of self expression for you.
Mhm.
There's something there for you that you get to contribute, that you get to, accent your life with, right? So it's a give take thing, right? And I really feel like that's a universal truth for me. Got to start at the foundation. Otherwise, why are we doing? Then you ask those questions, why? Yeah.
So is it those universal truths that you express in your music, how why you have such a strong connection with your listeners?
Yeah, I think so. I really think so. Because I'm actively working on myself, all the time. So I want to be a more freed up vessel, so to speak, to be able to let my true talent, vibration, um, voice, everything come through, and hoping that I inspire others to go, wow, that made me feel good, or wow, I can't wait to read, this book, or wow, I can't wait to buy that song, or I'm going to start a new thing, tomorrow I'm going to actually pick up the guitar that I always wanted to do, things like that. To me, that's the things that I feel I bring to the table, and standing in that I think that really supports others and myself. I get what I get out of it is just the opportunity to share what I have.
That is awesome. And I think in doing that, you shine an important light on a lot of issues and you've built awareness. What are some of those topics that you've built awareness on and have worked on?
Yeah. Starting way back, but I won't mention that. But yeah, that right now what I'm really focusing on uh is I'm working with One Tree Planted. And so what I do is every time anybody buys like my merchandise, my
Mhm.
t-shirts, whatever, my music, whatever they do, I can see who's doing that. And so what I do is I go, okay, there's one. And then at the end of the month, then I
Mhm.
go and buy um 50 trees or 10 trees or whatever it is, and
Mhm.
then I plant them through
Oh.
through One Tree Planted. It's fabulous. It's totally fabulous. And excuse me. And then the people support me as an artist and in my
Mhm.
business, and then I get to support this other business called One Tree Planet. And guess what, we get to plant a tree. The trees are the lungs of the planet, and so we're rebuilding our environment, and that's so key. I've just been huge on the environment for 20 years. So and then I worked with uh, environmental cleanup. I was that was a nonprofit in Santa Cruz that I worked with for several years, about 4 or 5, and I was on their board, and we were working on the oceans that point. But our my the owner, the founder of that has since passed, so
Oh.
I'm retired out of that. But now I'm working with a foundation for climate restoration, and we're looking for solutions to carbon.
Oh.
So, and they're hot on it, and it's already working. They've already got some stuff that's actually taking carbon out of the air. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
and it's turning into, I think they take the carbon comes out and it turns into like not a cement, but something like that. It gets to
Mhm.
be reused. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's
So they're
pretty
not
cool.
just improving the environment, yeah, gosh.
Yeah, they're actually doing it. So those are the people that I work with. Those are the things that I believe in. And it's my way of making a difference on that level, philanthropically, and sharing, and and inspiring people. It's like, no, it's not all doom and gloom. Get off the news. They're gonna just show you the most dramatic thing they can because that gets eyes. you
Exactly.
know. So
And I'm glad you explained the one tree to us because I misunderstood that the first time I
that's
read it.
okay.
And I thought that you had planted one tree in your backyard every time. So I'm like, she's probably sold thousands, if not millions of CDs. Gosh, she must have one heck of a big
Forest.
backyard.
Yeah.
Forest in her yard. Yeah.
Yeah, right. No.
Yeah. I was like,
Uh
wow.
I'm sorry that wasn't clear. That worries me now because I'm like, okay, I because I there's when you have copy, you got to be able to make sure you explain it right. So I try to say every time you buy something of mine, I will plant a tree for you with one tree planted.
That makes more sense. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
missed that part. And like I was just like, wow, she goes out and she's planting all these
She's
dang
amazing.
trees. Yeah. I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah, it's great though. I thus far I've planted about 250 trees and
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, some in Canada, California because we've needed it, and then in California, and then in the UK because that's my favorite second home. I love it there, and they need trees. So yeah.
The other thing I like about your art is it's a very inclusive art.
Mm,
Is that intentional that you're trying to be more inclusive?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, because it's we're all here together. We're all connected, and if we're if we're not doing things together, then you're like a voice in the void or something. It's like, okay, okay. I guess for some people just want to only be alone, but not for me.
So let's talk about your IMDb page a little bit. I was
Sure.
going to say, shoot, which actually I don't know if Broadway goes on there, so we'll start Broadway actually first. You were able to do Divine Lust,
Yeah,
a
I
Broadway
co-wrote.
musical. That is
Hmm.
phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, I co-wrote that with a friend of mine at the time, Damien Perkins, and Damien was on Broadway with Rent and Aida. He was one of the characters.
Ooh.
And I was introduced to him, and he actually sang. We did a duet on one of my songs called "Wait for Love," and then he and I kind of hit it off, and we started talking about stuff. And he was like, "Yeah, we should let's do something together." So we co-wrote "Divine Lust." It was fun, and we I learned a lot how to be a producer and songwriter and actress and everything all at once in LA. And we did it. It took about a year and a half, and we pulled everything together and moved down there. And um, I, excuse me, we rented a theater and we sold out. We did
Mhm.
two shows, and I just really realized who I was working with. And it was a narcissist on steroids, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I just I did that once and call it a quit.
But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely one heck of an experience, I would
Oh,
think. I mean,
it was.
yeah. I mean, to
Yeah.
be on Broadway, wow.
Well, I wasn't on Broadway, he was,
Oh,
and
okay.
then we came together and we opened the show in LA.
Oh,
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, a huge musical, and I mean, the undertaking to do
Oh,
something like that.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome.
I wouldn't
A-
wish that on anybody.
And then you've done some movies with
Yeah.
CYN. Tell us a little
Mhm.
bit about that. What's CYN stand for?
Sin.
Oh,
It's an interesting way of spelling sin. It's a horror film.
ooh.
And yeah, and it's a very good friend of mine from way back when we were kids. He moved to LA in the 80s and became a filmmaker. And he's a sound effects editor for Pulp Fiction and
Mhm.
all these really cool films. And he just stayed down there and started building his life and his career. And he's finally doing his own. I'm so proud of him. He's so good.
Oh,
And so we just did a table read about a month or so ago for Sin. The original title is called Awakening, and that's what you saw too. That's on the IMDb page. So yeah, David's pretty phenomenal. So we'll see how it goes. Films take a while to make.
oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
funding and all kinds of crazy
Hmm.
stuff. Yeah, but he's got a good script and it's a good film. There's a lot of really good things about it. It's kind of scary for sure.
Ooh,
I got a
definitely.
fun part in it, so
Ooh, sounds nice.
yeah.
Heck yeah. And then was the short film more of a documentary or is that
Yeah.
more? Okay,
It's
that's what I
yeah,
was thinking.
Docu
with
short, yeah.
yeah, with the title like that, Change Orphans in the Storm,
Hmm.
I figured that sounded more documentary and
Yes,
about the struggles of those young people.
absolutely. Yeah. And he used he used my song, which is called Change, which is the title of the film. And he also submitted me for best song, best artist, and I actually won.
Oh,
So
cool.
that was awesome. And then I got to perform at the event at the gala or whatever you call it, when they're giving out the awards. So
Nice.
that was awesome. That was really fun.
Awesome. Well, Glenda, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can our listeners find out more about you?
Yay, thank you. Thanks, guys, for listening. Hey, you can find me glendamusic.com, glendabenevides.com. It's a hard one to find. But yeah, you just put my name in a search engine and I come up everywhere. So I'm on Instagram. I do not do Twitter or X, whatever. Um, just waste of time. And then Facebook, of course, and just I'm pretty much everywhere. So I'm on my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/c/ Glenda Benevides. I have two channels, but you'll see the one that says Glenda Benevides. That's you can see all my interviews, you can see all my music videos, everything there, or my website. So
That is
if you
awesome.
do buy something, I will plant a tree for you.
Nice. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.